Trust me, the biggest artifact mistakes you are making listen, we have to start the new year. It's 2023. The game's been out for 4 years plus, and we got to get our accounts sorted. How many times you've been sitting there saying, I'm at 1300 artifacts, it's coming in my mail now, what am I doing? There are tons of guides out there on how to cleanse gear. I've made some of the best ones you will ever see for raid, and still people are struggling with this. So what I want to do here is I just want to nail the biggest issue players have. I do tons of takeovers, tons of gear cleanses, and I've actually just done 7 in a row. We had a long day today, so I'm going to be showing you something that I noticed on at least 5 of these 7 accounts that I just did a gear cleanse for, and this is it's going to change everything. So let's just dive straight into it. What up, team? It is Murder Rank. We are talking about cleaning that messy artifact storage. Look at this. I'm sitting at 415 out of 1300. This is the feeling I want for all of you. My gear is always like this. It's almost always full plus 16 gear minus a shield like this. As we can see, pretty decent shield. Let's just slam this all the way to 16 here. How did it roll? Triple defense. Maybe I can keep it for a defensive nuker, that's fine, but I want to show you guys how you can achieve this on all of your accounts. I don't care where you are in the game. Early game, I mean, if you're early game, you're probably nowhere near full, but mid game, late game, end game players, you need to know this one important thing that I see across so many accounts. What is that going to be? Stop keeping gear that doesn't make sense with the set that it belongs to. It's been engraved in everyone's head that speed is the most important thing in this entire game, no matter what. What does that do to someone's mental when they're filtering through gear, if they should keep it or they shouldn't? They're having crit damage sets and they're keeping double speed rolls with HP and accuracy. For what? For who? You're never going to use it. I know some people like to hoard gear. I'm telling you right now, you are never going to use that. Accuracy sets, resistance sets with crit rate rolls, attack percent rolls, crit damage rolls. There's a time and a place for hybrid gear sets. If you're early on and it's an insane 6-star legendary or 6-star epic piece and you want to mix and match, you can get away with it, but make sure you're not keeping 50 helmets that have attack percent, crit rate, and crit damage, and they're in a useless set. You don't need 50 of them. You don't need 10 of them. You need 3, 4, or 5 maximum. That's it. Anything beyond that, insta sell it. Of course, this is assuming you've rolled it to at least 8 or 12 and determined that you have good substat rolls to begin with, and of course you would need the silver. But this very small thing, so many players cannot grasp it, and they're starved for silver, or their storage is overflowing. They're asking for more space. For what? I have one of the most endgame accounts in the entire game, and I'm sitting at 415. I have tons of champions that are geared, some that aren't geared because I don't use all of them, of course, but the fact that with all of this, I only have 415 out of 1300 should say it all. This is what I use on my account. This is what I want to tell all of you to use here. So really quickly, I'll give you some more examples as I just go through this. Lifesteal gear, once you're past the early game, mid game, not really late game, but if you want to be hesitant, you can. You don't need lifesteal. Why am I keeping this? For no reason. I can delete all of these pieces right now and lose no sleep. But just in case I want to test something, I'm a content creator, so I have to keep more gear than the average person. So putting things realistically, I'd probably have 200 pieces of gear or less if I wasn't a content creator. This is just, like I said, if I have a video, I want to have at least one of each good set so I can just plug and play if I do want to showcase something. So lifesteal, endgame, you're pretty much never going to use it. I'm not going to go over every single set. Fury's a niche set for unkillable teams. Days set, you're not going to use day set unless you have stupid stat rolls on it. These probably aren't that good. Triple roll, speed, plus a crit rate, it's whatever. The only reason why I'm keeping this is maybe they rework it one day and I want to be able to showcase pretty high quality gear for a rework. I have another set mixed and match on some of my faction war champions, but curse set, same thing, just in case they rework it. Frenzy set, very niche use, you probably will never need it. Regeneration, here we go. If it's not accuracy, resistance like we can see from this awesome piece here, HP, defense, do not keep crit rate rolls, do not keep attack percent rolls, crit damage rolls. You're not making a regeneration nuker. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. There might be one person out there that's doing this and it's working really well. Okay, you're in your own game. If it's working for you, comment, let me know how, because it makes no sense. Damage dealers want damage dealing sets. Not using a damage dealing set is the biggest waste ever. If you're struggling for survivability, you should not be looking to regeneration gear. Get a support. It's that simple. Immunity gear, you can gear both ways here, so damage dealing and accuracy does apply. As we can see, you can kind of see the trend here, right? Regeneration for supports, accuracy, resistance. I have a little bit of gear here. Immunity can be accuracy, speed, tanky, and damage dealing. How do we know that? Because I have a lot more of this gear than anything else, excluding what's on champions currently. Same thing with shield. I have significantly less shield gear. HP percent, if it's not main stat HP percent on the gloves, if it's not main stat on the chest, and if it's not main stat HP percent or speed on the boots, you instantly sell it. Stop keeping crit damage shield gloves, crit rate shield gloves, attack percent. If you're not mix and matching sets, you instantly sell all of that. Relentless gear, another tricky one. I personally don't use it, which is why I don't have a lot of relentless gear. I don't think it's good. It doesn't really compare to reflex gear, but if you want to keep it, you can keep it for damage dealers, tanky champions, fast and debuffer champions for sure. Savage gear, I made this point earlier. Do not keep accuracy, speed, HP percent rolls. I don't care if you roll a quad speed roll, unless it's 6-star and at high rolls and you're mix and matching to make your fastest champion ever, you're never going to use that piece. And even if you do get a quad roll, it's going to be outweighed by a really good triple roll for a speed set. So just keep these things in mind when keeping gear. This is the biggest issue of overstocking your inventory on completely useless gear that you're never ever going to use. Another great example is going to be stalwart gear. Again, I don't understand why people are keeping attack percent and full damage stalwart sets. You're not going to use it. It was the meta like 2 years ago in the arena for a Cantrifin when he was first reworked. Stalwart was really good on him. Now, you just don't do that. You want tanky stalwart gear only. Cruel gear, this is the hardest gear set for people to let go of. They're always keeping accuracy gear, HP percent, defense percent. Don't do it. You have to say enough's enough. You have to start selling this gear, because rolling it up is the biggest waste of silver ever. You're never going to build a fast debuff champion with a cruel set if they're not crit capped, and it's impossible to crit cap them unless you're building them with damage style stats. I have tons of videos. I just released one on how to build the perfect nuker. You can use that, for example. If none of the gear I mentioned on how to build a nuker is in your current cruel, instantly sell it. Just instantly sell it. Same thing applies with Savage. That's a really easy way based on this video where you can say, how do I know if I have pieces that he's talking about? Go to that video, find the pieces that I described when I was building a damage dealing champion, and everything else that you have, you can instantly just get rid of. I covered HP based damage dealers, defense based, and attack based, so all stages are covered there. The only interesting thing you can think about is going to be hybrid based champions. If you want to build a hybrid, perception gear is going to be your friend, and I'll talk about that just after immortal gear. Same thing, stop keeping crit damage gloves. I know if you have a Mountain King, it's possible you can use crit damage gloves on that, but that is such a niche scenario and case for this. Granted, if you did just pull Terrace, you can also do that because he's an HP based champion, but do not overload yourself with attack based immortal gear that has really high damage stats. You're just not going to use it. Now that we've covered that, perception is something we do have to talk about. If you want to build a hybrid champion, murder, what do you mean by hybrid? I'm talking about damage dealing champion that also needs accuracy because it has some very strong debuff on them. You would look to perception gear. You would not look to accuracy gear. The 5% speed is way too strong, and perception gear is so easy to make since it does come from the forge and requires no energy to farm faction wars and forge these pieces up. So if you want to make hybrid gear sets, this is the place to do it for sure. Outside of that, the Doom Tower sets are pretty self-explanatory. Protection gear is not going to be a damage based gear set. Stone Skin, you can keep a lot of this. Stone Skin is going to be here for a while. People have pretty much figured out the best champion to use it on, but it's so universal, you could technically use it on any single champion you want. Damage dealers in Stone Skin can be a huge problem in the arena for sure, so I would respect anyone keeping more Stone Skin than they should. I rarely over cleanse Stone Skin gear, but that's one example of the many. Bolster gear, I just had someone where I had to cleanse about 80% of their bolster gear. I just had to clear, like I said, the majority, over 3/4 of it, because they all had attack percent rolls, triple crit damage, double crit rate. Listen, the whole purpose of having bolster is to have the biggest shield possible. You don't need a resistance chest in bolster because it's a protected ally shield. So you don't need resistance at all. If you want to build a resistance champion, pick another set. You don't want bolster on it. So that is the biggest tip I can give all of you. Something that I've seen I've literally done thousands of accounts now for account work. This is the one thing I've seen year to year. This is the year I want all of that to change here. So hopefully this video is going to help you guys out a lot. I'm sure it is already. Just take a look at your account, start looking at your gear, and I guarantee you, I would bet anything you want on it that you're going to find tons of gear that I'm talking about right now that you can instantly sell, get that silver, build up your silver, so when you do get valuable pieces, you're not saying I'm silver starved. That's going to conclude this video. If you found this helpful, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in my next upload.